Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I have a first impressions to do on this little number. This is the Spyderco Pochi, and it is my newest Spyderco. I just unboxed it, I think it was 2 days ago now. Yeah, because yesterday I hiked. Anyways, I have carried this knife for a whole day. That means it's first impressions time, and guess what? This is a stupid knife, but I get a kick out of it. So the Pochi is just polarizing. Some people are very excited about it. Some people are very mad that Spyderco would even stoop to this level. And I see both sides, genuinely. I get a kick out of it because I like to think I have a good sense of humor, but I do not take this knife seriously at all. Let me start by saying that. I bought this knife basically as a joke. I don't regret doing so, but it's a joke. This is stupid. As knives go, I think this is the dumbest knife I've ever reviewed. And I'm a Spyderco fanboy. I really like a lot of Spydercos. I speak very highly of them. I can call it what it is. I think this knife is a joke. Now, they seem to be kind of acting like it's a joke at Spyderco. Like if you look at their catalog images of it and the branding behind it, I think they get that it's kind of funny, but they are also like talking about it like it's a real knife, and they're charging real knife money for it. This was, I think, 180 bucks, maybe 190. It's right in there. I just had to kind of close my eyes and send the money because it is not worth that amount of money. The competition for it in that price range, even just within Spyderco's own catalog, of real knives you can get that are very good at being knives, this seems real dumb real quick. This is not a real knife. This is a novelty. It is just a knife to be a puppy. That's what it's for. So let's talk about my first impressions of it, and there will be a full review. So first impressions will be based on having had it in pocket one day, maybe leaving it open, maybe after carrying it and using it for about a week, as much as you can use a knife like this, I'll find that I actually think it is useful and usable. And so it could happen. I'm open to letting it happen, but at the moment I think it's really dumb. So let's talk about the materials on the knife, and then I'll talk about what I've kind of discovered so far. So first of all, this is a Taichung Taiwan Spyderco. That is pretty synonymous with high quality Spydercos at this point. I really like the knives that come out of Taichung. This one is sporting an S45 VN blade. It is a hollow grind. We have titanium handle scales with this kind of milling here. We have a titanium tail, which runs on phosphor bronze washers back there. And then on the clip and lock side, we have a titanium clip, which has been anodized blue to match the tail, and this big pivot collar. I guess a dog deserves a collar, so that's there. It's, of course, yeah, blue titanium there, and there. In terms of like barrel spacers or anything, there aren't any. It's just the tail functions as the barrel spacer back there. And then we do have a Reeve integral lock, as they are careful to call it at Spyderco. Everyone else just calls it a frame lock, but Chris Reeve did invent the Reeve integral lock. So there you go, credit where it's due. It does not have a stainless steel interface, so it's just titanium on the S45 VN. I assume they carbonized that. And yeah, it's got a ceramic detent ball. That's what we're working with in terms of materials. And it's not very much of them, because as you can see, this knife is petite. It is a puppy, as dogs go. Maybe this is just to get people accustomed to dog knives, and this will be like the puppy one, and then maybe they'll come out with like a big, like proper Bowie with this clip point, but like a full-size dog knife or a bear knife. I don't know. I doubt it. I think this is probably, I don't know, if I had to guess, I'd say I think this is kind of gonna flop for Spyderco. I don't have much faith that this is gonna be like super sought after. Everyone's gonna feel like they need to get one. I think a lot of the guys who are really into Spyderco, like me, are gonna buy one for its kind of novelty. but I don't see this like catching on and people really wanting one. I think these are probably going to be pretty readily in stock for a while until they're discontinued. Maybe not right now when just like the first batch starts hitting people, but in a few months, once people just have these, I can't imagine that these are going to be like hard to get. So that is what it is. I could be wrong. Maybe this catches on like wildfire and somebody in a professional dog show circuit finds out about it and tells all their friends. Maybe. So let's talk about what my experience has been with the knife thus far. First of all, I was curious about the tail before one more thing before I jump in. I was curious about the tail before I got this knife as to like how mobile it actually was, like how far it could travel. So it folds all the way down to here, kind of between its legs, and then it can go all the way up to there. So it's got quite a bit of range on it in that way. I'm not sure really what's stopping it from going further than that. Now that I'm looking at it, it's got to be something internal. Maybe it's on like kind of a D-shaped something or other. I don't know. It's held in by phosphor bronze washers, which is also kind of hilarious. So let's talk my kind of typical things so far, what I've found in ergos, action, carry, and what's the other one? Ergos, action, carry. What else do I talk about? Am I crazy? There's something else. Ergos, action, carry, cutting. Cutting performance. Fitting that I forgot about it for this because look at that little thing. Anyways, ergos. First of all, with the tail not out, this is a 2-finger knife for me, and it is an uncomfortable one. I can kind of squeeze 3 fingers in there. I guess that's a little bit better, but they are quite squeezed. Like they're really having to push together to get in there. But it does feel more sturdy in my hand than having 2 on it. It's just not comfortable to get there. And then there's the tail, which I can kind of wrap my pinky around. In my experience so far, the tail does nothing for the ergos. Nothing positive. It does not help. I don't feel like I get a better purchase on this knife because the tail is there. It's just not helping. It is purely to put a tail on something that they shaped like a dog, in my opinion. That's been my experience so far. The tail functionally does nothing. But yeah, these ergos are not good. Does not feel comfortable in my hand. The clip doesn't really present a hot spot. It's more just that the whole knife is a hot spot. It's like a hot dog, if you will. There's going to be a lot of puns here, I guess. But it's not comfortable in my hand. With 2 fingers up there, with 3 fingers up there. The best way I've found to hold it is kind of just to put 2 fingers in like a saber grip and then really kind of push the knife forward in my hands. So this back finger is like hooking into that curve, and then I can kind of hold it like this. And with the very limited amount of cutting I've done so far, this has been the way I've held it. It's the least uncomfortable. Still not good. There's also this up here where the frame lock is cut. It does have kind of a sharp corner right there. A lot of knives do, but on some you just feel it more than others. And on this one, with my hands, I feel it. You have a little bit of a guard up here, which I guess is a good thing from that front dog leg, but I don't know. It's not good ergonomically. Just say that. Now, action. Action is worse than the ergonomics. Someone mentioned to me that this is not supposed to be a flipper tab. It's supposed to just be the leg that ends up folding out there. But it looks like a flipper tab, and it quacks like a flipper tab, so I don't know. I want to use it as a flipper tab, and it just, it will not deploy the knife. Push button, light switch, doesn't matter. I can't generate enough force with how kind of gritty this knife is and how the detent is dialed. It's just not a winning combination. It might break in to the point where maybe it'll get there. I don't know. I still haven't tried lubing it or anything. I'll try dripping some KPL in there, see if that helps somewhere along the way. But right now it's not. It's not getting there. In terms of middle finger flicking, it's very difficult to get the knife in hand right to do it, but I can. Just did it. You saw. So it's possible. But it's an awkward little knife to pinch in between my fingers and try to get to a position where I can do that. So, doable, not ideal. The way that I have found myself opening this knife has been simply to just slow roll it out like that. Just use the hole, slow roll it out. Closing it, does it drop shut? No, it does not. Not drop shutty at all. This is a tiny light blade. It is a stiff action, and it does not drop shut. I don't believe it ever will. I don't think I could do anything to this knife to get it to be drop shutty. Could be wrong, but at this point I just don't see it. So, action, not good. Carry. I suppose I'll call it good because it's a tiny little knife. It's like the size of a dollar coin or something. It fits in a coin pocket, that is for sure. And that's the only way that I've carried it, is just tucking it into a coin pocket. I didn't even use the clip on the coin pocket. I just literally put the whole thing down into my coin pocket, and it's just a little novelty trinket that I've got in my pocket. And it's about as useful, in my opinion, as carrying a challenge coin, but which I don't find useful at all. This happens to have an edge on it, so I guess it's a little bit better than a challenge coin, maybe. But it goes in a fifth pocket fine. I haven't tried carrying it in any other way. I will, at some point, clip it onto my back pocket. I'm just worried people are going to see that I've got this puppy paw print clip hanging out of my back pocket. It's going to ruin my street cred or something. I don't know. It's just, I don't think that looks cool at all. Yeah, so carry, it's tiny. That's what it's got going for it. Now, cutting. This is an interesting one because this hollow grind is actually pretty good. The edge that's on it is very sharp. Taichung Spydercos, in my experience, tend to be the sharpest Spydercos from factory, and some of the sharpest knives from factory that I get, period. So it's got a great edge on it. It's all belly. It's got this clip point, so you've got quite the tip on there. So this knife, if you're looking just to like open Amazon packages and stuff, sure. This will be excellent at cutting through tape and opening packages. For like processing the cardboard, like I do a lot of the time to get it ready for the dumpster, the ergos and the size of it, not so good. Like you just don't have much to work with. And so anything above like really light duty, I don't trust this knife to do. But it's very sharp, it has an edge. So if this is a knife that, like, I don't know, here's how I could see it working. I could give this knife to my wife, and she could keep it in her purse for when she goes to the post office and has boxes to open. Because that's all she's going to want to do with a pocket knife anyways. But if you're giving it to anybody or purchasing it for yourself for any reason other than that really light-duty EDC stuff, there's just so many better options. Like, specifically, within Spyderco, the Lil Native is also a tiny little knife that I consider a secondary, and it still has a limited amount of cutting edge, but it has good ergos. It's enough to hang on to, and it functions way better for actual cutting tasks than this knife ever can because of its limitations in size and because of its out there styling. It seems like I handled a McBee not too long ago. Did I review the McBee? I think I reviewed the McBee. Yeah, I did. I reviewed the McBee. You can tell I go through a lot of knives. And the McBee is about this size. But it's not trying to be a puppy. And so the McBee, I don't really love personally. I don't want to run out and get one. But as tiny knives go, I can actually get an okay 2-finger grip on that one. And it just seems a little more realistic for real cutting tasks than this does. They're both probably about the same amount of cutting edge. They're both tiny. Neither of them are fun to fidget with or have good actions, in my opinion. Both can just get tucked into a coin pocket or a little section of your purse or something, and they can be there when you need them to open a box. But this one is just, inferior at it because they tried to design it to look like a puppy. So, yeah, I mean, action is bad, carry is tiny, so it has that going for it. Ergos are bad. Cutting is good at, in my opinion, one thing, being opening the tape on boxes, and that's about it. So, it's a novelty. That's what this knife is. If I'm trying to judge it as an actual knife, it is horrendously bad. And it's a knife, so part of me thinks I really should judge it as a knife and call it what it is. It is a bad knife. Bad dog. Not good. But it's a dog, too. And it's kind of an artistic expression, if you will. It's not really my taste of art, but I paid money for it. I bought this knife, full price. I mean, if I didn't have this YouTube channel, if we're being totally honest, would I have bought this knife full price? Probably still yes, because I have a lot of fun in the online knife world and in Facebook groups and on Instagram. I get a kick out of sharing things like this and just flexing that yes, I was one of the idiots that paid my own hard-earned money for it. But there's no point in trying to hide the ball that I bought this knife as a joke. This is a joke knife. This is funny to me in a number of ways, and it's also tragically unfunny in other ways. I just hope there's no one who buys this knife thinking that they're getting a real quality cutting tool. It's not. Like, the materials are nice, sure. The finishing on it is nice, sure. But mine came out of the box pretty gritty. And the design in terms of how it goes in your hand, like a knife has to do. There's not really such a thing as a knife or a pocket knife at least, that's not designed to be held by your hand. That's what a knife is. And so as important as the blade is, which this one is not very good, the handle is also important. And this one, because they made it a dog, just sucks at knife things. So, I don't know, I just really hope everyone who buys this is doing it because it's funny, like I did. And then it's a decision you have to make for yourself. Anyways, I will be carrying this a whole lot more. Part of me is excited, part of me is hurting inside that I'm going to be carrying it a lot more. And I'll be preparing for a full review. We'll see if anything changes, if I learn anything new about it that, I don't know, enlightens me. But so far I think it's pretty freaking dumb. It's fun, but it's really dumb. So, that'll be that for the moment. This is the Spyderco Pochi, and I guess we'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.